You should introduce yourself and then start with your vegan story.
Okay, yeah. My name's Alex. I live in Washington State. I'm 31. Actually, I'll be 32 tomorrow. 32 years old. And I became vegan in 2013. I was dating a girl for a couple years who was vegan before me. Um, we lived on the water and had like a bunch of birds, a bunch of chickens. So we'd eat the eggs and all that. And one day, one of my chickens got sick. I did everything I could to save her, and I couldn't. So I had to kill her. I had to kill the chicken on my own. And that was what kind of started it. Like, it was pretty brutal. You'd think that killing animals, especially cutting their head off, they'd die right away, and they don't. And I loved her like a pet, you know? Like, I've always been like that, probably from watching Bambi and Ferngully and stuff growing up, like just programmed to think that way. So after I killed the chicken, I almost immediately wanted nothing to do with animal products, even the eggs that my own chickens were giving us, which is pretty crazy to just not eat them. So I started feeding the eggs to my dog, who I feed carnivore. Like, my dog eats raw carnivore. It's pretty much the best way to feed a dog.
Yeah.
But never really like made the connection that he was thriving and so healthy eating like that. But then for me, I need to eat vegetables and fruits and stuff to stay healthy. Never even thought of it. That same day, after I killed the chicken, since we lived on the water, I tried to fish, you know, just like relax myself while fishing. And I caught a fish, and I pulled the fish up, and I couldn't kill the fish. Like, so that was it. And it was good for a while. I think when you first get started in the veganism, like, you're really into eating like plants and all of that instead of the fake meats and stuff. Like, I don't know, you're just motivated. So we do like Vitamix and raw, like cucumbers, carrots, oranges, apples, like spinach, so much cellulose at one time, like 3 times a day, and just not like in shape, but then not fat either, but kind of like just like a weird like doughy like body type, like
Skinny fat.
Yeah, like skinny fat, like I don't know, like I was 40 years old or something, but I was only like 26 or 27.
Yeah, it's really common because you lose so much muscle mass.
Yeah, totally. And then like maybe 2 years of being vegan, I got a really crazy infection on my leg. I was like working out in the woods, like cutting down branches and stuff, and one of the branches hit my leg, and it got crazy infected, like inflamed and swollen, and it was a staph infection. So like they had to go in and put like tubes in my leg to drain this infection out. And I tried everything, like every natural remedy I could, like cleanses and all of that, like thinking that my body would just fix itself. And even like doctors and stuff, nobody thought twice about my diet, like the vegan diet, having anything to do with like my body not being able to fight off the infection or something like that. And so now, like, I'm susceptible to that. If I get a cut or something, I have to be really careful that it doesn't get infected, because once you have that, you can get it again really easy, and that's some scary stuff. But yeah, it never came up that could have been my diet, which I don't even know if it could have been, but I feel like that played a big part of it. If I'm not getting enough minerals, vitamins, you know, how's my body supposed to defend itself?
Yeah, cholesterol is protective, so when your cholesterol is so depleted over time, it affects your immune system for sure.
Right. And I was sick a lot, like weird, just little colds, you know, like a lot more than you would think. And people would always say, oh, you eat so healthy, you know, I don't understand why you got to call in sick
Mhm.
to work once a month, you know, like, but nobody knows really. You think plants, you think health.
Mhm.
Um, anyway, that the relationship I had with that girl, it kind of went south. Like our communication and stuff like that. Like it was really emotional, like emotionally based, I think. Um, and neither of us really had control of our emotions. And like looking back on that now, like you notice it more, I guess, once it's all over. But vegans are emotional. Like you watch them online, you watch the videos, like almost unhinged. Like some of these
Mhm.
people who've done it for a long time. I would almost bet that if our diet wasn't that way, maybe things would have worked out because we were pretty good together for the most part. Just crazy little fights, like crazy miscommunications where like once the dust was settled, you didn't even did I lose you? No, you're still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't even know what the fight was about in the first place, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, uh, I'm with a different girl now. She was vegan for a little while she was with me. I dated another girl in between there who was vegan. She was from Argentina, and she was one of the craziest people I've ever met. Like the things that this sweet little girl would say were like outrageous. She even one time she told me she would kill a child before she'd kill an animal.
Wow.
And you're like, I mean, so when someone's like ranting and like especially a girl like you're into, you're like, oh yeah, okay, I see. But then like a month later you think about it, you're like, holy shit,
Yeah.
really? Like
Like
you would kill a kid over a chicken? Are you kidding me?
red flag.
Yeah. So anyway, that relationship blew up before it went anywhere, luckily. um, uh, I also had another injury happen 2 years ago, so maybe 4 years into my vegan uh, escapade. I got a hernia at, down in my lower abdomen,
Mhm.
an inguinal hernia, and that so it comes all the way through like the wall, the abdomen, the muscle or whatever that's called down there. And basically went in, like my lower intestines came out of there into my scrotum, basically. Uh,
Wow.
while I was at work, like, I mean, it looked like I had a cantaloupe or a mini watermelon inside of me. I didn't know what was happening. It was just extremely painful. Um, and yeah, it was, I mean, it was huge down there, you know? So I went to the ER. I thought maybe I had a tumor in my stomach or something that I didn't know about. And all of a sudden it just like fell out. I went to the ER. I was in the ER for 8 hours before they operated on me and pushed everything back in. Um, and that's another thing that it never came up that my diet could have anything to do with that injury. And I'm not like a power lifter. I work out like maybe 4 days a week, but nothing major. My job is pretty physical, but I know how to lift correctly, and I don't lift. I mean, I'm 150 pounds. I don't lift, you know, I don't lift a lot of weight at my
Mhm.
job. So it was kind of like nobody, it was just something that can happen, I guess, but nobody
Yeah.
pointed to the fact that, again, my body's not getting the nutrients that it needs, or I am getting the nutrients. Like you think you get vitamin A, but you don't get vitamin A from beta carotene, right? Like it's not that retinol form, if
Mhm.
that's how you say it. So like if you're not getting these nutrients, how is my body supposed to thrive, right?
Yeah.
And
Well,
that was go ahead.
no, I was going to say, and there's an increased stress on the intestines and the digestive system because of all the fiber.
Yeah, yeah, totally. That's another big thing, like just not pooping 4 times a day is so great, like, you know.
Yeah.
uh, But that injury, even then, like I wasn't thinking, oh, it could have something to do with my diet, but now I do for sure. So that was 2 years ago, and I stayed vegan for 2 more years after that, and kind of got like not lazy about it, but I started wanting to build muscle, so I started working out, but I didn't get nearly enough protein, so I started supplementing protein or eating like the fake meats and stuff like that. Like, oh, tofu has tons of protein, so I can eat this whole block of tofu for dinner, which is just, I feel like I'm still like paying for it. Like those, the goitrogens and the lectins and all of that stuff, like in that tofu is terrible for you. It's poison, pretty much.
So did you have any like energy problems? Did you have any other like symptoms?
big time energy problems. And I don't like coffee, but I would be constantly drinking coffee, constantly trying to find like the next plant source of energy, like chia seeds and what's that other one? That other berry everybody's nuts.
Goji.
Goji berries, which are so bad for you, you know. Like I think goji berries have they're high in lectins and stuff. And then chia seeds are sprayed with glyphosate. Like whether they're organic or not, they spray that stuff with glyphosate to dry it out. Which will eat holes in your stomach. So that explains like my intestines falling through my freaking abs.
Yeah.
But my energy was always low, and even I could drink a pot of coffee and not probably take a nap, you know, and then wake up from the nap 20 minutes later because I couldn't sleep. Like I started smoking so much weed just to like help myself fall asleep and stay asleep for like 4 hours at a time. You know, so like you're doing something to help yourself fall asleep, then you're doing something to help yourself wake up, and it's just this constant cycle. And then pooping a ton in between because there's so much raw vegetables and fruit, you know.
Yeah, like it's so common with all these like ex-vegan interviews that I'm doing with myself, with everybody that I know that was vegan. You are in this, you're like stuck in this middle place of where you are so exhausted that you want to sleep and you need to sleep, but your whole body, like your hormones and your rest and digest, your sympathetic nervous system, your parasympathetic nervous system, everything is so out of whack that you can't rest, but you need to rest. So you're stuck. Like you're like permanently stuck, not getting enough rest, not getting enough energy.
Yeah, it's terrible. And I work early morning hours, so that's rough, you know. That's rough on both ends, for sure. Go ahead.
I was just curious if you took like any B12 or any supplements.
For about a year, I tried the supplement thing and spent so much money and so much time researching like which supplement is legitimate, or who owns what company.
Yeah.
But I probably only tried to do supplements for about a year, and then I thought, oh, I just get it all from the raw vegetables and fruit. They're colorful, they're bright, so they're full of vitamins, right?
Yeah. So were you eating beans and grains and stuff? Like, were you also?
Yeah, I did it kind of weird. I would eat like a raw smoothie in the morning, a raw smoothie for lunch, and then usually grains at night, like rice at night, rice and beans. Rice and beans and tortilla is like, and then go and try to go to bed. Just like 10 or 15 different like plant foods all at once, thinking that I'm doing a good thing for the environment.
Yeah.
Which is, it's crazy to think about that too. Like all those different things have to be flown in, you know, like they put that stuff on a jet, they fly it to me from who knows where, like
7 different countries to make one smoothie.
right, to make one smoothie. And then, oh, but it's so sustainable. Yeah.
Yeah. And the problem that people run into with the fruit is that they pick it when it's not ripe and then they ship it. So a lot of the nutrients get lost because it wasn't ripe and they're shipping it so far and then it's staying on the shelves for so long. And then by the time it gets into your smoothie, it's more sugar than it is any vitamins or minerals.
Yeah, it's just like fermenting. Yeah. Yeah, lots of sugar, lots of and those smoothies, they weren't cheap either. Like you think that you're gonna make like save all this money by eating fruits and vegetables, but it's not cheap, especially like local organic stuff. That's not cheap. And then, you know, you put coconut water in it, or you put like hemp seeds in it and flax seeds in it, and that's an expensive lunch that's just gonna go right through you. Yeah. So like 18 months ago, my daughter was born.
Congratulations.
Yeah, she's healthy for the most part, but we were vegan during the whole birth, and none of the doctors ever said anything about it. They're just like, oh yeah, make sure you supplement some folate and some B12. And we did a natural birth, and it all went really well. There was no complications or anything, except for my girlfriend. She started losing hair on the back of her head about halfway through the pregnancy, maybe the size of a quarter, which is now probably about the size of a silver dollar. It hasn't started growing back yet. What else? Oh, and then she lost the hearing in her left ear, which they said won't come back.
Wow.
And we don't really know why exactly. I mean, the hair, that has to be a nutrient deficiency. Baldness, it doesn't run in her family.
Yeah, it is.
So it has to be a nutrient deficiency, probably vitamin D. I don't think anyone gets enough vitamin D, and especially not vegans.
Yeah, and it happened during pregnancy. It probably has to do with her iron as well.
Right, and the iron, and being vegan, you can't. That's why there's so many vegans that are anemic, like that stuff from the soy, the oxalates and phytic acid. You can't absorb that iron, the magnesium, the phosphorus.
Yeah.
So your hair's not going to grow.
Yeah, pregnancy usually like speeds up the depletion or the degeneration of veganism because the baby takes so much from the mother.
Right.
So any like nutrient stores she had, the baby took all of that, which is great for nature, but not for the mom, you know?
Right. Yeah, I feel terrible. And I mean, I feel like it's all my fault. I was the one, you know, who pushed us into the vegan diet. So yeah, I feel pretty bad about that. And now my daughter, all her teeth are coming in, but like some of her teeth they're kind of crumbling, like dental caries, which is heartbreaking. It's only been 3 months now that we've been eating animal products. But we have an appointment with the dentist next week because, I mean, you can see it, especially on her top teeth. They're crumbling. So, yeah, I feel awful.
She's still young, so
yeah,
you should be able to get her teeth back on track with like a very nutrient dense diet and maybe some whole food supplements.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just don't let them put mercury fillings or anything like that in her
Right.
mouth. If she
Right.
does need dental work, I would try and seek out a holistic dentist, because the
Mm-hmm.
mercury fillings are going to cause a lot of more problems down the line because they
Yeah.
off gas in the mouth.
Yeah. Definitely. Um, yeah, we try to stay away from all that stuff. We we opted out of all the vaccines and
Yeah, even your girlfriend, like, don't be too hard on yourself, because with like a very nutrient dense diet, a lot of the damage can be reversed.
right.
The longer that you're vegan, like vegan to 20 years down the line, there's a lot of damage that they did that can't be erased just because it happened for so long.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I'm seeing around like the 4 year mark, people are
Yeah.
still being able to like reverse the damage. It just takes time.
Yeah. Yeah. And she was vegan for probably about a year and a half. So hopefully we can reverse most of that.
Mm-hmm.
But now, so we have another baby due this September. So we're pregnant again. So now there's a lot of foods that I'm trying to introduce that she can't even smell right now. So kind of
How
at a standstill with getting her on that program.
how far along is she? She's still in the woozy phase?
Yeah, we're almost, I think after this week, we'll be 12 weeks in. I might be
Yeah.
off by a week or two.
So yeah, after the first trimester, she should be able to stomach a little more things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a good book by Sally Fallon. It's like
Oh,
a pregnancy nutrition book, and then there's a baby nutrition book if she wants to look into that. There's a lot of
okay.
good recipes and info in
It,
that.
I have a book by her, the Nourishing Traditions one,
Yeah.
and there's a little bit, there's a little bit
Mm-hmm.
about the pregnancies and all that. Yes, that lady has some good books.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like cod liver. I've been eating a lot of cod liver, and
Mm-hmm.
my daughter loves it. But man, mom almost can't even be home when I crack the can open of that thing, which sucks because that could do a lot of good for her. We'll get there though.
Yeah, it'll pass. It's because the first trimester is like the protective stage.
Mhm.
And morning sickness, it also has a lot to do with like the toxins that the mother had in her body. It's like a protective mechanism. So she's already pregnant, so there's not much you can do now, because there's like a preparation phase that you would go into before pregnancy just to like ease those symptoms, I guess.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah, yeah. I wish we would have been better prepared for it, because it's crazy. You read about like our ancestors. They would get pregnant at certain times of the year, so that after the baby came out, they could be in the sun,
Yeah.
get the vitamin D, replenish all those nutrients. It'd be cool to be able to plan it like that. But
What about ice cream, like raw ice cream?
yeah, that would be a good idea.
Um,
She loves ice cream.
yeah, you could make like raw ice cream with raw cream and raw egg yolks, a little bit of
Mhm.
honey or maple syrup, and it'll really help get in some nutrition, but it's still like a food that you would crave while you're pregnant.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, and that's another thing about switching our diet. Like the amount of local food around here, like like raw milk and raw cream, it's insane. There's so many farms in the area. There's a co-op that I buy from once a week, and so all that stuff to make that ice cream, like I can get right here in this little radius of
Hmm.
it's called the Kitsap Peninsula. But yeah, tons of farms, tons of raw milk, and raw milk is something that my girlfriend can do. She likes it. and it's the only milk that our daughter will drink other than breast milk.
Mm-hmm.
That was really what got me into to all of this. Was I was looking for milk that we could wean her from breast milk with, because she wouldn't drink anything. She wouldn't drink coconut, almond milk.
Mm-hmm.
But the raw milk, like, oh, she loves it.
Yeah.
And the goat milk, she loves the goat milk. It's really been a blessing, finding this way of eating.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
already
much
got,
more,
what's
so
that?
much more satiating.
Oh, it's so much more satiating, and it's so much more easy to cook. Just like salt, pepper, and butter, you know, for some
Mm-hmm.
steak or some liver or something, and or just eggs. I got like 3 chickens. Hopefully, I'll get more soon. But so like my chickens give us eggs. My daughter loves going out and getting the eggs. It really, veganism, I feel like people think that they're like getting close to nature or whatever, but that just pushes you from nature. And you know, agriculture, local agriculture. I have more friends now. Like I know more people in the community. I'm learning a lot more.
Yeah, you can't get B12 in nature.
No, you can't. Yeah,
Well, a
you can't.
supplement, anyways.
Right, and I mean all those important vitamins. Even if you can get them, you need fat and cholesterol to absorb them. So it's really simple when you can take a step back and look at the facts. It's very simple that we need these animal fats to thrive.
Yeah. Did you switch from vegan right to an animal-based diet, or did you keep trying to stay vegan? Was there a transition
No,
process?
no, I did it right away. I read, I read an article about bone broth. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, man, that would be so easy. Like there's a meat stand right down the road. I went down the road and I got marrow bones, neck bones, and knee bones. Came home, started the broth the next day, drank it, and that was it. I got a steak while I was there too. So it was January 4th. I started the broth and ate the steak, and we haven't looked back since.
Mm-hmm.
The only veggies we really do are I sprout mung beans and like some broccoli seeds and stuff just in a sprouter on my counter. And that's really just because my daughter likes to pick at them and eat them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been good. I feel really good. I sleep better. I fall asleep a lot easier. But I've also been supplementing with magnesium. I know that can help with that. Because I kind of started to get like I guess they call it keto flu, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I looked into what I can do to help myself with that, and magnesium is something that was suggested to me. So I
Yeah.
just do that like once a day. It's like a spray too. It's not a pill. It's a transdermal
Mm-hmm.
magnesium spray. But yeah, it was instant. Instantly switched my diet and almost instantly noticed positive results. I lost weight. I lost like that kind of like doughy layer that I had of like 30-year-old dad fat. Um, and I'm finally able to build some muscle, which is encouraging. Yeah, I started working out. I just would be cool, like if my daughter looked at me and was like, "Oh, my dad has big muscles," you know. So it's cool that I can finally build muscle. Yeah, I'm really glad. There's a lot of good information there. There's a lot of crappy information, but there's a few people on YouTube. I think if you search a carnivore diet that have some good information. I was kind of thinking about maybe posting a few videos myself. If I can just help people get through the vegan facade quicker than I did, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And now my brother's into it, and it's like, oh man, nothing I say to him has been able to sway him so far, but I guess no one could have really told me anything either.
Yeah, me either. Mid veganism, I was super stubborn, and it wasn't until I started deteriorating so bad that I had no choice but to pay attention.
Right,
Because I had an excuse for every symptom. No, it's not vegan. It's not this.
right.
And
Yeah,
so it's sad, but I think that people who are that far into it, because you start watching all the documentaries and you start paying attention to all the YouTubers, and all of a sudden you're brainwashed and you think you found the answer.
yeah, totally.
And the only thing that snaps you out of it, and it grabs a hold of good people, and that's the sad part, is that it grabs a hold of people who care about animals and care about the environment and want to be healthy and want to find the answers, right?
Right,
And so it veganism preys on that aspect of people, but then they essentially start, instead of inflicting damage on animals, they start inflicting damage on themselves, and it just
right.
transfers from one being to another, because you can't get rid of all suffering on earth. That's just not what earth is about. There's always going to be suffering.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and people will let themselves suffer if they think that they're saving all the tortured animals and the which aren't even tortured. I mean, at least the animals around here, they're living happy, healthy lives, until it's their time to be processed. But if if it wasn't for local agriculture, and factory farming is awful. That's
Mm-hmm.
one of the worst things on the planet. I do my best not to support any factory farming.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for local agriculture, there would be no animals. So if we were all vegan, you can say goodbye to the animals, which in some way is probably the puppet master's goal eventually.
The earth would fall apart. I don't know if you've watched, there's a documentary about how cows would actually help global warming.
I've seen
Um,
I've seen examples of that where they put them in like a rural area.
yeah, so essentially what we have to do is like mimic herding,
Hmm.
like in the wild. So back in the day before everything was industrialized, um, the job of the predators were to herd the herbivores throughout the grasslands. And so as they're moving, they're fertilizing different areas, essentially like being a part of the circle of life and fertilizing the soil, and the methane gets trapped in the soil. But because
Yeah.
there's so much desertification going on, desert lands, that's why there's so much methane
Mm.
being released. And so it's not so much that the cow is to blame, but it's the system that we've created.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We create all these problems and then try to direct people to what caused them.
Blaming it on the cow when it's
Right.
once again it's us.
Yeah. And I think it's something like they say that cows cause 30% of carbon emissions, but really, like, if you wiped out all the cows, there would only be, it's like a 2.5% reduction in carbon emissions. So it's not even substantial.
Yeah.
Um, I I have like 3% left on my battery,
Okay.
so we're gonna get cut off here.
Is there anything else you wanted to say quickly?
Uh, I don't know. I appreciate people like you. I mean, when I saw you on Bart K's channel,
Mm-hmm.
and you only had like, I think you were barely at like 1,000 followers, and that was only a couple weeks ago, and I think you're twice that now, maybe three
Mm-hmm.
times that. That's good. It's good to see. It's good people teaching people good information. I don't know. Just I know there's haters out there.
A lot.
Yeah, but
Vegan
I mean,
ones.
yeah, ignore them. You're doing great things. we need more good people out there spreading this information.
Thank you. You should
Yeah.
start your channel too, because everybody resonates with someone different, you know? So you never
Oh
know
yeah.
what's gonna
Yeah,
affect.
totally. Yeah, I agree. I'm just not super tech savvy, obviously. Coming at you from my phone on the beach.
Yeah.
um,
There's a YouTube video for everything. You can
right,
teach yourself how to edit and all that stuff on YouTube.
right. Okay. Yeah, keep it up. Keep the content coming out. It's good, especially for people like me who are just starting out. You have a good way of explaining things.
Thank
Some
you.
people get so scientific about it. It's like,
It's too much
well,
for the average person. That's what
yeah,
I'm trying to do is help people in a way that they can actually use it. Because like Bart's channel is necessary
yeah,
because vegans always want to use science, but channels that explain it in layman's terms are very necessary so that people could
oh
actually
yeah,
digest it and utilize it.
yeah, totally. I appreciate it. Yeah, maybe you'll see me out there eventually someday.
Okay. Thank you for
But
your time.
yeah, for sure. Stay safe and keep it up.
Have a
All
good day.
right, you too. Bye.
Bye.